Before the final battle against Sukuna in Jujutsu Kaisen, Uraomi revealed that they couldn't find Sukuna's last finger, with Sukuna assuming that Gojo hid it somewhere to delay Yuji's execution indefinitely. While the mystery of the missing finger was never directly addressed, it was later implied that Rika ate it so Yuta could copy Sukuna's shrine technique, and that seemed to put the plot thread to rest. At first, it seemed like Jujutsu Kaisen was done dealing with Sukuna's fingers, but all of that changed with Chapter 266. As Yuji and Sukuna's final fight inside Yuji's domain got underway, Chapter 266 ended with the reveal of Sukuna's final finger being sealed in a mysterious location, meaning that both Sukuna and the audience were misled about Rika eating Sukuna's last finger. Sukuna's fingers are a major part of Jujutsu Kaisen's plot. These 20 fingers belong to the legendary renegade sorcerer of the Heian era, Sukuna, who used them to transcend the age and his death. Over 1,000 years before the beginning of Jujutsu Kaisen, Sukuna accepted Kenjaku's offer to participate in his plot involving the culling game. They formed a contract, and Kenjaku divided Sukuna's soul into his 20 fingers, turning them into cursed objects, allowing Sukuna to reincarnate after his death, which happened when Yuji ingested one of the fingers, and Sukuna's soul took residence in his body. This happened because Kenjaku had already sealed one of the fingers inside Yuji's body at birth, leading to the King of Curses reincarnating at almost full strength, with only one finger missing. This final finger was supposedly fed by Yuta to Rika to obtain Sukuna's shrine technique. The gauntlet Yuji had been wearing in the final arc was to hide that he was missing a second finger in addition to the one Sukuna ripped off to take over Megumi's body. Chapter 267 quickly revealed that Rika ate one of Yuji's fingers to give Yuta a copy of the shrine technique. As for how that played out, in a flashback to everyone's month of training, Yuta asked Gojo to let Rika eat Sukuna's last finger, which only he knew the location of. But Gojo rejected the idea because it was more advantageous to keep something with a direct link to Sukuna. Because of that, the only way for Yuta to gain the shrine technique without sacrificing Sukuna's finger was for Rika to eat one of Yuji's fingers. As while Yuji had yet to develop his version of shrine, Gojo already confirmed that it existed within him with his 6 eyes. The reveal of Sukuna's last finger was a great twist, but there was far more to it than that. Since Gojo insisted that maintaining a connection to Sukuna could be useful, that meant he had to have a plan for it. But it didn't factor into his fight or any other fighting with Sukuna. Nobara, awoken from her apparent coma, used her cursed technique to strike at Sukuna's soul through his finger and prevent him from opening his domain again. Nobara's the only other person who can directly attack Sukuna's soul, so it makes sense that Gojo and other characters kept her hidden as another possible trump card. Nobara, being one of the key players in Sukuna's defeat, can be seen as a bit of redemption for how much she was wasted in Jujutsu Kaisen, even if it only happened within the last 5 chapters of the manga. Conversely, it's that lack of screen time that makes Nobara's return draw some criticism. This happening in the final 5 chapters of Jujutsu Kaisen only emphasizes how much the series wasted her character. The last few chapters might do something to give her more development, but with how much ground there's left to cover, that doesn't seem likely. Thanks in no small part to Nobara using her cursed technique on Sukuna's finger, Yuji landed one big hit on Sukuna after another, including hitting him with the effect of his domain, and Chapter 267 ended with Yuji hitting Sukuna with a black flash so devastating that it made his eyes roll back inside his head. Sukuna has been an infamously hard opponent to deal with for the past year of fighting, and even with how much damage he's been dealt, he's still overcome the heroes at nearly every turn, thanks to his constant use of binding vows, and just being far above everyone in power. With that in mind, the combination of Nobara's resonance and Yuji's Black Flash might not have been enough to defeat Sukuna, and more of the final stretch of chapters might be spent on more fighting until Sukuna finally goes down. Even without the announcement that Jujutsu Kaisen's final arc only has 5 chapters left, the series was clearly in its endgame. Jujutsu Kaisen chapter number 267, bringing in Sukuna's final finger to defeat him, is a perfect bookend to how the Jujutsu Kaisen story started, so it wouldn't make sense for it to continue for much longer.